All right, good morning. Welcome to the Public Safety Committee, and we have a quorum, so thank you so much, Council Members O'Farrell and Rodriguez, for being here as well. Truly appreciate it. We're going to jump right in. I'm going to propose a number of items for consent, but I know we have cards on everything anyway. I essentially want to hear items 1 and 12, and the balance on consent, unless my colleagues want to hear it. Okay, so, but we can't vote on them yet, so we'll go ahead and take the cards. I'm going to remind, is anybody else here that wants to turn cards in? If not, okay, then we're going to go ahead and open general public comment first, and then we'll take the cards. We're going to go ahead and close the card submission now then, if there's no other cards. Okay, so all the cards are in for the people who want to speak on any agenda items as well as general public comment, so thank you all for being here on time. I'll remind the public as well that for general public comment, it's for comment as it relates to whatever under the purview of this committee, and for the specific comment cards, it's for items on the agenda. And please stick to those items, or unfortunately you forfeit your time at that point. So first, Henry Gamble, Roy Stone, Teresa, is it Sanchez or Sanchor? I'm trying to read the writing, I apologize. Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, of course. I should have just looked up and saw you. Oh, okay, Teresa. Good morning.
Good morning, Council. Henry Gamble, I'm the president of the Librarians Guild. The libraries have been in the spotlight a little bit with the NBC report. We're here to address that. While we've made significant steps in improving public safety in the libraries, we still are at a place of vulnerability, especially in our branches. I ask you, is it okay that one of our librarians was struck in the face by an enraged patron earlier this year, and it took 50 minutes for police to arrive? Is it okay that we have a particular individual who went on a tear in 3 different areas in the city and started fights and threw chairs in our libraries, and after a week and a half of asking for a library suspension letter, which is an internal mechanism that bypasses the restraining order process, that we still didn't have that? Is it okay that I have more minutes?
Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
Is it okay that I have an individual in my own branch, which is in a suburban area called Brentwood, where you think there wouldn't be any problems, yet I have 6 restraining orders over 5 years that I've been there, and I have an individual in my parking lot who is violating his restraining order, even being there?
Unfortunately, I don't want to cut you off, but I have to give equal time to everybody.
I understand.
Okay.
And he's still there. We prepared a letter which Roy can talk about.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we've presented a copy of that. I would have copies for each of you, except my water bottle leaks all over them. So my name is Roy Stone, Vice President of the Librarians Guild. The Librarians Guild appreciates the efforts of this committee to make our libraries more secure and welcoming for library patrons throughout our city. We believe that Chief Beck's candor and honesty, along with this committee's help, will make LAPD and contract security improve the services and level of speed and the responses that we get to the dangerous activities that do occur, which occur also inside the libraries. The report stated that it was outside, but the inside of the library facilities are just as dangerous as the parking lots and grounds. So we hope you will pay attention to that. Librarians Guild will be happy to work with this committee on improved and more secure privacy screens, along with the very complicated issues of filtering pornographic material. And finally, we request that the Librarians Guild receive any reports that are generated by this committee on these issues. We look forward to working with this committee, with library management, to make our great library system even better.
Thank you. Teresa.
Good morning, committee members. Teresa Sanchez, AFSCME District Council 36. We're here today because we're asking this committee to take action. We've been here in the past speaking about security and safety issues in the library for both library staff and patrons, and we have not gotten the action that we believe residents of the city of Los Angeles deserve. The library pays the Los Angeles Police Department $5 million a year for security services, and those services, frankly, are inadequate. So we would like this committee to take action to request the library department, the police department, CAO, CLA, whoever needs to be involved, report to you on a comprehensive review of security services at the library, and that we continue to have dialogue with you about how we can have improved safety and security in the library. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. And with that, first, thanks for being here this morning on this. It's discerning that it took a news story to bring it to this attention level, because we've been here before, and we've had this conversation, and we've brought LAPD to the table that said that they were going to do more, and they were going to respond quicker. And this is one of, our most critical assets in the city, because our most vulnerable population is serviced, and our children, and our most precious commodity that frequent libraries. And if they're not safe, it's libraries and parks, period, that have to be the cornerstone of safety in a community. And to not only hear the stories are reoccurring, but the issues haven't been resolved, is disheartening. So we can't have a conversation. I was going to speak to it just in opening comments, but we can't have this dialogue since it's not agendized. But now that we have motions in, we will. And what we really want to hear from is what's going to change. And so it's really a message, I think, to LAPD that when as soon as we get this scheduled, now that those motions are in, we're going to have more than a conversation. And so I appreciate you being here.
We also are giving you a letter with 4 bullet points that we think you guys could focus on.
I appreciate that. And although my colleagues, since again it's not agendized, but we can't have any opening comments on an agenda that pertains to the public at hand. I'll see if Mr. O'Farrell would like to not respond to your comments, but just in general on the purview of this committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to just make a general comment. I would like to also explore when the LAPD absorbed the General Services Police that used to patrol the libraries and the parks. I would like to explore if that's a factor in this incident or not, because I've had serious concerns about that since that change took place some recent years ago. And I would like to see that explored as well. So
I think what we'll do is we'll just a message in terms of to LAPD when they do come back and it is agendized for conversation, that those are the things we'll be possibly looking at. And if any of my other colleagues have any items on that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and thank you again and appreciate you for being here, and we'll welcome you back very, very shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice holiday, everybody.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Herman, you've got 2 minutes on multiple items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And please stick to those items. Go ahead. And you got 2 minutes and then 1 minute for general public comment.
For the record, I signed up on every item.
Correct.
But
every item.
Specifically, I'm speaking on item number 4, dealing with children.
And you are the final. Wait, hold his time for a second.
Speaking.
Hold your time. Yeah, you're the final speaker for this committee meeting, and all the other cards are have been closed. So, okay, go ahead. Excuse me, you're disrupting this meeting, sir. So you can't just come in and speak and start standing there and speaking. Okay, you're going to be asked to leave now. Now you're disrupting the meeting. So please escort him out, sergeants. Sorry. Excuse me. You're disrupting the meeting. You're disrupting the meeting. Wayne, you're disrupting this meeting once again, as you constantly do. So, all right. See you later. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. You're still disrupting this meeting. You're continuing to disrupt this meeting. Continuing to disrupt this meeting. Thank you. Continuing to disrupt the meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. All right, we held your time, so you can go ahead and resume.
Since I was rudely interrupted under the Brown Act, crimes against children is just not one incident at a library. It's an incident happening with the Los Angeles Police Department cadet program, in which I have made multiple statements against the program, that it should stop psychologically harassing, molesting, and pedifying young children while police officers take them to their home for barbecues. That's internet crimes against children. And then I go into item number, for the record as well, number 7, vandalism, graffiti. The reason why we have graffiti vandalism is because it helps organizations like the LAPD take children around in vehicles to observe what's happening in their communities, called vandalism graffiti. Who's to say that they're supervised with an adult parent or chaperone while they're out messing around like they did in Sacramento? Then item number 8, annual report of the illegal dumping reward program. Well, you heard Mr. Swain Spindler say that the DA office should hear more about illegal dumping. I think the illegal dumping of public time and public comment cards is an illegal DA investigation by the Attorney General. In my comment cards, for the record, I indicated that Olmsted versus LC, 1999, because of discriminatory actions by the city of Los Angeles and that racist motherfucker, Herman Jason Wesson Herb. Now my general public comment, sir. Now, you see, I try not to use intensifiers because there's a way of delegating the real business for the people of Los Angeles, all you Angelinos. However, you heard the racist motherfucker, prejudiced little bitch, big ears, 5th place loser.
You're not under anything under this agenda. Your time is up. I've already given you the warning. I gave you the warning before you sat down. It wasn't on this agenda. No, you weren't. You were just on me. That was it.
LAPD.
So you're disrupting this meeting? You're going to be asked to leave.
Is a tool of harassing children.
Okay, Sergeant, can you please show them out?
The
You're disrupting this meeting.
fuck young kids.
Again, disrupting this meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up. You're out of order. Under items under this purview only, so.
You don't like the truth, you little
Okay, please don't yell out. If you're going to continue to yell out, you're going to be escorted out. No, you're disrupting this meeting. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you very much. I think that bordered on more threats than disruption, and so I just want to note that really should be elevated perhaps to a discussion of threats. And I think I saw some members of the general public feeling threatened from that, not just up here, but folks that are here to participate in this public meeting. They're nodding their head yes. They felt threatened. So I'd like LAPD to elevate that to threat discussion of his outbursts were beyond outbursts. And anytime it's disrupting the general public, but the general public feels threatened, needs to be considered as such. So that would be.
I'd like to throw in harassment.
Yeah.
I would like to throw in, racist harassment and the works, because clearly those in the gallery today were horrified, and I think definitely felt threatened and harassed by this outburst.
Yeah, and that was
happens at every single
and that was
hearing.
Beyond the First Amendment, because his time was already cut off, and he was told why. And so those, I don't believe that those protections are in place once you've already had your time forfeited. So I think we'll have to have that looked into as well. All right, let's go back to the agenda then. We've got 2 items for discussion. The first one I'd like to take is item 12, is an in-kind donation for various sporting event tickets. Is there anybody from the fire department here that can speak to this? So just a couple questions. First and foremost, on item 11, there's a donation to the fire department as well for some televisions, and I believe that's being donated by a battalion chief directly. Is that correct?
I believe Chief Rideout perhaps was going to discuss to that. I'm unaware of that one. I thought it was just agenda item 12.
Well, I don't know that there needs to be much discussion other than it's pretty rare to see a firefighter or battalion chief donate back to their own department. So I think a special appreciation and thank you from this committee to Battalion Chief Geikus for that donation is in order. And so if you could please send along our appreciation for that, that's very kind. In terms of sporting event tickets, I did a little research and found out that the same individual donated the same value of tickets to the Sheriff's Department, and the Sheriff's Department accepted them as well and created a process for distribution. What's our process? Because that's a little different than TVs into a station, but handing out tickets, how are those being disseminated?
Yes, well, good morning, Honorable Board. Eric Scott, Fire Captain, Paramedic, and Public Information Officer for Los Angeles Fire Department. Mr. Englander, we will do a special appreciation to Chief Geekus on your behalf in reference to that. Thank you. Our dissemination for that was as fair of a process as possible. We used an internal portal process or an information notice that went out to all LAFD members, both sworn and civilian. They were for the Staples Center 2017-18 season for tickets. It was 4 tickets and 1 parking pass per game. And our department's ticket administrator was CLO Peter Sanders. He picked a good time to be on vacation. I'm sorry you're stuck with me trying to learn what happened here. But and I do know that there was emphasis on having a very fair process, and it was a random computer-generated lottery that went out to the members. And so any of our members that wished to enter that lottery had to use their department email. They had to send that to Director Sanders by October 18th and indicate their desire to participate. Again, that was open to all sworn and civilian. It was,
How many entries were submitted, do you know?
No, sir, but we can get back to you.
If you can let me know on that.
Yes. How many entries? And they were allowed then, they also had to, any employees who file a Form 700 and receive the tickets had to document on that Form 700 and adhere to city ethics and those disclosed rules. So again, it was 1 employee selected per game.
Now on their 700 form, they would be submitting that they received those from the city though, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then they were ultimately notified via their city email. And it was also mentioned that they would not be able to exchange them, they would not be able to sell them to anyone else or transfer them. And that's all I know about the process.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Was there a reason the Public Safety Committee wasn't included in that lottery? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, please, Mr.
Question. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for asking
And our
those
staff.
questions. I also, the report was very sparse, so I was just wondering what these tickets were for, and it looks like the main goal of these tickets were a morale booster for the department.
Correct. And from what I heard, it boosted it pretty well for those lucky ones that won.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. So, I mean, it would be, in the future, it would be good to have a little bit more information on that because I didn't know if it was going to be used as a fundraiser or, for what cause. So, but a morale booster for our first-line defenders, first-line responders who, as of late, have been literally been up and down the state and the nation and the world. So, yeah, I think this is much deserved. Maybe you should have given them an extra entry or something. But, okay, but yeah, just more information in the future would be nice. Thank you.
Yes, sir, more information.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the value is on those tickets if they lost either, so they have to.
300 per ticket, I understood.
If they lost, all right.
Oh, right.
No. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And so I think without objection, we'll go ahead and approve that donation. So thank you very much. On item 1, this is relative to the request for Prop 47 grants. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. How are you?
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Shafia Mir from the CAO's office, and we have the mayor's office here as well.
Hi, I'm Emily Chen from the Office of Reentry.
Kimberly Gilmet, Office of Reentry, and we'd also acknowledge our colleagues who are here from the mayor's office and the city attorney's office.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right. So a couple questions that I had on this was, one, we've been waiting for Prop 47 dollars to start coming in for 4 years. $6 million is a joke from the state of California, but it's a first tranche. I get it. It certainly cost us a lot more. This is my own opinion, of course, than $6 million. But having said all that, those are some funds that are starting to come back. Do we have to actually apply for these funds, or are they just disseminated based on other criteria? What's the process?
The process was that in February of 2017, the Bureau of State and Security Community Corrections solicited and received applications from throughout the state to secure these funds. The City of Los Angeles Mayor's Office applied, as did the City Attorney's Office and other entities throughout the state. And we were selected as a recipient of $6 million in June of 2017.
And under that application process, we already saw the first round come through actually from the city attorney's office. This is the, I guess, next round, correct?
May I clarify?
Please, yes.
This is the first round of funding, and to clarify a little bit about the process, when the state initially was deciding how much funding was available, they found $103 million in cost savings statewide to be utilized for diversion programs and rehabilitative programs. They opened up that $103 million throughout the state for application. The Office of Reentry and the Mayor's Office applied, as did the City Attorney's Office separately, and we were both awarded separate $6 million grants during that initial round of funding.
Got it. Okay, that's what I thought. But okay, so where is this going, this round, this $6 million?
This round of $6 million for the Mayor's Office of Reentry will be focused on an employment-based program with wraparound services. I'm going to defer to my colleague Emily to give you a little bit more detail with regard to how the programming will work.
So we proposed a program called Project Impact. So the idea of this is that it's an employment program, but that it's multidisciplinary. So it's not just employment services, but it's also legal services and behavioral health services as well. And Project Impact also incorporates different evidence-based practices that we know are proven to work for justice-involved individuals. So things like trauma-informed care, cognitive behavioral therapy, peer-based support, so like peer navigation by somebody with lived experience of the justice system as well. So we're incorporating all of those elements into what we think will be a really holistic and impactful program that's not just focusing on just employment, for example. It's not just behavioral health, for example, but it's incorporating all of these elements so that we'll be able to holistically serve individuals in the program. I can talk a little bit more about kind of how it will actually work on the ground. So we're going to pick 4 employment centers throughout LA. They'll be in 4 different regions, and then what will happen is that program participants will be able to go to one of those centers and not only be able to access employment services, but also behavioral health services, also legal services, and those services will all be provided by something called a PAC team. So that stands for P, A, and C. So this PAC team is like this multidisciplinary team of people who will work with clients in the program. So P stands for peer navigator. That's like the case manager with lived experience. A stands for attorney. So that's the lawyer who will be working with clients to address kind of the collateral consequences that people experience after they've been involved with the justice system. And C stands for a counselor. So that will be kind of the behavioral health element. So the person that will be providing therapy for clients. So that's kind of really in a nutshell how it will work and how the services will be provided.
Great. Well overdue. What are the 4 areas, those 4 regions that, and how is that being divided?
So the 4 regions are, one is Watts, the other is South LA, the third is downtown, and the fourth is San Fernando Valley.
And are those being divided equally?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And just to also provide context, those regions were selected based on census data, looking at the highest unemployment rates, the highest crime rates, the highest reentry rates, and also the lowest medium household income.
And are those actual centers, or where do they run out of?
So we have released RFPs for these different types of services.
Okay, so these will be various nonprofits.
Exactly.
That, even better. Yeah, okay.
And just to clarify as well, over 92% of these funds will be routed to nonprofits.
90%.
Yes, community-based organizations, yes.
CBOs.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And on those, will then in each region only one nonprofit qualify, or will it be divided within as well?
So in each region, there will be an employment provider and a behavioral health provider and a legal provider.
Oh, I see. Okay, great. And when is that RFP going out? Or is it an
They've
RFQ,
been
or what's the
released.
process?
The RFPs have been released.
Oh, it has?
For all services, yes.
Great. Can I get a copy of it?
Of course.
That'd be great. Okay, and when are applications due?
So there are 4 different RFPs that are part of this. So the proposals for employment, legal, and behavioral health are already due, and we are still waiting for data evaluation.
So I would imagine that this then will be a model moving forward as additional 47 funds come through, which means that you're developing metrics for measurement.
Yes.
I do see that you have data collection and evaluation. I'm making the assumption in the LEAP
Yes,
that is,
yes.
so you can report back on the outcomes and deliverables, how many people entered the system through each one of those processes, and how each RFP respondent
Absolutely.
succeeded or failed, and we'll be measuring all of those
Yes,
as well.
we will. Yes.
Great. And so if I could request then that, first, let me compliment you, because this is well thought out, much better, in my opinion, than the first tranche of funds that came through from 47. This is holistic. It's geographically spread out to need, and based on the services I think that we're all seeing that are well overdue and needed and underfunded. So this also, I think, could be a model for other types of grants and funding that we can feed right into this system. And so I want to compliment you on that and look very, very forward to hearing some of the results as they start coming back. It probably makes sense to report back on the data once the next round starts coming through. It doesn't make sense maybe to even spin your wheels to try to report back prematurely until new funds are available or other grants. But I would ask, I think you've done such a great job that we start looking to whether it's county funds or Measure H, and trying to go after additional funds to fit the model that you've just created. And so for everybody that's worked on this for me, I want to thank you for that, and turn it over to my colleague, Monica Rodriguez, to offer some thoughts and words on this as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I think it's a very well thought out and comprehensive, effort to help address this population, which, again, it's I think too often overly simplified when we have the conversations about what the needs are related to reentry. When we talk about this population, there are many similarities, and I think the way we need to really thoughtfully even address, for example, even our homeless crisis. It's not just a simple solution. It's comprehensive, involving the social service component to help support these individuals socially reemerge into this, into a workforce. And so I think it's really well thought out, and I applaud your efforts on this, because I think it is going to be the model going forward as to how we deal with a lot of our most vulnerable populations in the city. So I'm just delighted to see this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember O'Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also applaud your great work in setting up this framework to disperse these funds where they are needed the most, and your recommendations are very solid, Mr. Chair. I'm of a very strong opinion, I'm not alone, that voters in California were sold a bill of goods for Prop 47. This is a trickle of what we were told that we would be receiving to fight anti-recidivism measures. And so I would like to hold on the table that our city take legal action against the state if we need to or if we can to get more dollars that we were guaranteed when this came along on the ballot in 2014. I think it's ridiculous. It's not nearly enough. It never will be enough. But I want to commend you for making the most of the monies that we were told we would be receiving in the tens of millions of dollars per year. That's not happening. It's not going to happen. So I'm still woefully disappointed in the results of Prop 47 and how it has negatively affected Los Angeles in a grand way. It's let everyone down, including those that we seek to help. Everyone in there who voted for this righteously wanted to decriminalize drug addiction, et cetera, and low-level crimes. But that's the very population that's being underserved now by this lack of adequate funding. So again, I commend you and what you're doing and the framework that you've set up to disperse these funds. But we should never accept that it's enough, because it just simply isn't. So there, I just wanted to, commend you, but also lament on the fact that we were sold a bill of goods on Prop 47 in 2014. And voters should really take a good look at scrutinizing these types of proposals as they come back by again, because our neighborhoods are suffering across the city for this. So, thank you.
Mr. Rue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm pleased that we're finally getting some money for Prop 47, recidivism and diversion programs. And you answered many of the questions already, because our chairman asked. So 90% of the money is being RFP'd out to contractors?
Yes, 92% actually.
Great. So you said there's 4 RFPs, and they're already due, some of the RFPs?
Yes.
What's our response so far? How many agencies have applied?
One moment. We apologize. We're going to invite our colleague, our contract analyst, to join us.
She's sitting all the way in the back of the room. Oh, she wasn't picked on.
Our contract specialist.
All right.
Hi, I'm Eve Ledoux in the Mayor's Office of Public Safety. I've been working with MOEO on the contracts for this. Thus far, we have 11 proposals for the employment piece.
Wow.
We have several coming in for behavioral and legal. We have about 5 to 7 for legal, and behavioral about 5. It looks that we will be getting, so far, approximately 5 proposals for data evaluation as well.
Some of our own internal legal may need some behavioral.
I'm sorry?
Oh,
we'll look into that.
It's a different grant.
We can add that. Maybe to public.
Wow.
Like
That's a great response. So are these contracts being coordinated with, did the county get some money too?
The county did get the money. They received $20 million in funding.
Wow, okay. So the contractors who apply for our RFP could also apply for the county monies as well and augment their program.
They could
right?
indeed.
Great. And earlier you said there's about $103 million that the state found?
Yes.
So is this all of it, or is there any money left?
This $103 million is the first round of funding that the state identified for this iteration of Prop 47 funding that was released. And to be clear, there are 3 areas where they're focusing. 65% of the funds are going to be focused on the type of programming that we're doing, and that was, so the $103 million was that 65%. They also have some money going to school-based programs and victim services. That's not included in that $103 million.
So the 103 is all gone now, or it's
It
all...
has been, yes, it has been distributed via this process I delineated earlier.
Is this a one-time thing, or?
No, it is supposed to occur again, and since Prop 47 has been extended, the sunset date till 2022, we expect that there will at least be 2 more rounds of funding, if not more.
Great. So this money will be for 1 fiscal year, or?
It's for 3 years.
Oh, it's for 3 years, okay. And then you think we'll have additional monies coming down later?
That's what the state has represented.
Great.
Supposed to be.
Well, that's my main thing. I just wanted to see if there was any money left, and as Councilman O'Farrell stated, I mean, we should not only keep our eyes open for any new tranches of money that come down, but we should be advocating that they need to do more of this. But it's finally good to hear that something like this is happening and the state's finally giving some money, but this looks like a great program, and I look forward to the results.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And I want to echo some of the things that Councilmember O'Farrell said, and what a joke. 47 and the disappointment it's been on so many different fronts. Legal action is definitely something we should look at because we weren't just sold a bill of goods. It was an outright lie. And $103 million for the state of California over 3 years. That in itself should be criminal. But maybe 47 doesn't allow it to be criminal since nothing is under 47 anyway. But just my opinion. Having said that, I can't talk about any state initiatives or things that are happening right now to undo that in this committee, so I won't. But there are. People may want to look into that. But I thank all of you very much for squeezing the sponge, otherwise known as Sacramento, and having no former legislators on this committee. I think it's safe to we can say that there's been a long history in the city of most cities of not getting our local fair share. But in any event, I want to thank you very much thinking outside the box on this, of being creative, stretching those dollars, sending the money directly right outside of the city to our nonprofit partners who do this work far better than we do. And it sounds like you all collectively feel that way, and making sure that it ends up directly back into the communities where it belongs. And so thank you for that. I think from all of us, we really, truly appreciate it. And so with that, I will go ahead and move this without further discussion. That is approved unanimously, and have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You do the same.
Thank you. Thank you very much. With that, I think that concludes this agenda.
Excuse me, I apologize.
Yes. No, anything. Yes.
We'd just like to request that this be moved to council forthwith.
Yeah, and so we don't actually have an ability to do that in committee.
Okay.
But we'll send it with a note that we ask the city clerk and as well as the council president's office to get it scheduled as soon as possible, so we can put that request in.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
And then we'll absolutely do it forthwith in council for sure.
Thank you very much.
So, absolutely. You got it. No, thank you very much. So that concludes this meeting, and I believe this will be the final public safety meeting for this year. So Happy New Year as well. So, yes.
It's almost December, so.
Yeah.